Hey everyone, welcome to another dev stream for Jagged Alliance free. With me in the studio, of course, are the all-time favorites, the two Boyans, and the lead designers of Jagged Alliance. So let's give it up for them. If someone is applauding behind the stage or something. So
finally being able again to talk on stream, the two of us, and fortunately for a very interesting topic as well.
Okay, actually, mic check, quick mic check. Everyone hearing us fine? And now we have a pop-up or something. Okay. Anyone?
Sound effects.
Okay, great, cool.
Yay.
So, maybe a little bit of prelude. How has everything been since the last time you were on?
Fortunately, we were able to take a bit of a break, both of us, I think, and just focus on slowing down a bit, but also reading a lot of feedback and thinking of how to improve the game.
Yeah, it's still a bit new, as I hear the lead designers of Jagged Alliance that the game is ready, that we're still going forward. It's very cool, and I think that we still want to work on Jagged Alliance a lot, and this is indeed the topic of this stream, our future plans.
Oh yeah, in the last couple of months you can just walk down and just hear the sound of digesting feedback in the hallways.
Everybody is inspired for something new, and they are bouncing ideas of how to make fun things and how to make improvements. So it's a very positive vibe and really inspiring.
Yeah, and it's really a great time because the stress, the large part of it, that's behind us now. The game is ready. We know who liked it, who didn't like it even. But right now it is not a black box, an unknown.
Yeah.
So really great time to be.
That's kind of the stress with all kinds of game dev problems, not problems, but projects that you don't know what you're what the reception is gonna be all these years until you actually launch the thing. So.
Yeah, there's like when you're working so much time on the project, there you get some form of tunnel vision at times, and you always check, and there are ways to check even with beta tests we have and with our producers and other people, but it's always felt, and like when it's released to such a big audience, it really helps to set the tone what's working and what's not working, and ultimately it's a fun game, and that's what I've been saying all the time.
And one thing that I love are these little comments in chat, like this last two that we're seeing right now. Yeah. Guys, for this game, for other games, the devs appreciate this. Kinda it is the purpose of our lives. So a special shout out to you guys. It feels really great to hear that somebody appreciates your work, that you've made someone happy. So thank you.
It's awesome, yeah. By the way, I was talking with one of our artists that, he was really into the project up until the last day that we actually launched it, and he went on vacation. I'm not going to name names. And he came back, and he was like, how did it feel? Oh, it was great. Had to wind down a bit. I did like 3 playthroughs. Finally, actually played the game. The game's fun. Like he had that tunnel vision that you were saying. Like that you start the game and all of a sudden you're just focused on, this detail is not okay. So you start reporting bugs or some feedback or some other thing, and you can't actually enjoy it. So he actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, and when you actually launch it through Steam and actually play it as a player, that's really good.
Before it's still fun, but it's work. And when you play it for kinda just to see the final result, it is an entirely different experience. Like the same that you guys have when you launch it on release. It feels like a game, not like work in progress.
There's a sense of completion in a way, like it's a fun time.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually also last week, at least for me, just with the modding support, having fun with actually loading mods and trying stuff. We had some very big fun with some Merc mods last week. It was really fun to try. And
which ones?
The ones with Terrence Hill and...
All right, so we're doing some shout-outs.
Bud Spencer and Terrence Hill, it got me very nostalgic about those movies. We've talked between the two of us a lot about these movies. they're like they're from famous Italian. They're not only spaghetti westerns, but comedy action movies. And they have some. The mod has some voice lines from the movies. They are not the top-notch quality voice lines because of the old recordings, I guess. But it really feels fun to
That
play.
adds to the charm. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And they had Homer Simpson with them, but that was.
Oh, the Homer one was really fun to see the discussions in Slack.
The Homer Simpson, the steroid is Homer Simpson, and the voice processing that they made for the voice.
I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, you should hear it. It's really, really amazing. Just looking at, hearing the steroid lines with the Homer voice is like, there I ruined it.
Okay. I'm gonna try that out. Okay, so I can see that a lot of you guys are keep congratulating us that we're keeping the support on for the game after it launched. So actually a big shout out goes there to THQ, who committed to supporting the game and is allowing us to do so. So that's a great thing to see with the publisher. And talking about patch support, maybe we should jump right in, and we're gonna go through what we have planned. There's a full dev diary for those of you who didn't see. You can go and visit us on the community page in I think it's jaggedalliance.com. I'm probably not in the right.
Probably know this and have
I
some links there, but-
know. I'm lowering my head because that's totally true. But there's a full dev diary there where Boyan with an I actually explains the whole process. But we're gonna go through each one of them and explain a little bit more about our vision and what we plan for that patch. Of course, have in mind that we want to do a lot of things, and during development, some things can change. So that's just part of the game. So.
And part of the fun.
Oh,
If
yeah.
I may make a quick comment about THQ, it was clear that we will support the game post-launch, but there was this question to what extent, and what
Yes.
THQ said was, guys, go all the way, maximum support. We love your work. Let's keep working on this game.
Yes.
So that was quite awesome to hear from.
Thanks
the
very much to
publisher.
Physics Guy. He or she just published the link to the dev diary that Boyan and I mentioned.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's jump into the first one. The first thing you should know is that we codenamed all of the upcoming patches, not only with numbers, but also with Merc names, because we'll explain a little bit more probably during the stream. So the first one, 1.2.0, and we call it Buns. So, anyone want to start out with that one?
I think combat's your.
Yeah. This update will focus on a bunch of different improvements, quality of life changes, and kind of updates to combat. Not as much balance updates as just new ways to do things, new information on screen, and some polish updates that we didn't have time to make up until now. And we named it Buns because Buns is kinda this perfectionist merc. She always imagines things to be done right and in the proper way. And we imagined how she would have some comments like we should smooth some rough edges of combat. And also she's kind of one of my favorite combat characters, so that might have played a bit.
Question: who is the Buns in this team?
Oh, that's interesting.
Fate, probably, I guess.
In the entire team,
Yeah, in
I would
Haemimont.
guess. Yes, there are some similarities, I would guess.
Yeah, Fate is our lead level designer. Go ahead.
Yeah, she's our lead level designer, and we should definitely get her on
Yes.
stream. And if she's listening, we'll make sure.
Hi, Fate.
Yes.
I think for the last patch we are discussing here, that would be a very good time to
There's a
show her
lot of
skill
stuff
set,
to talk there. Yeah. All right, so back to Buns.
I have something to note on the Buns. I really love Buns' talent and how we got inspired to make it. Like the small video, it was a small music clip of anything you can do, I can
It
do
was a
better.
music piece, a classic
Yeah.
music piece. I would sing it, but I would not, because guys, you would log out. But if somebody hasn't seen the piece, anything you can do, I can do better. Go on YouTube, see it.
Yeah, and I think it fits her character perfectly, and the whole dynamic it creates even in combat, it really works very well. So she will get more accurate, like bonus chance to hit for somebody that's already been attacked by someone else. Even if that character has missed, or does it have to be hit? Do you remember?
I think that it works even on a miss.
Yeah.
So let's say a bit about the update. It is there real close on the horizon, so we can go into some specifics here because they are already implemented and tested. For the rest of the updates, we'll keep it more high level, like we're not going into as much detail, but here we might mention some of the more interesting bits and bobs that we've changed. So one thing that I've had on my mind ever since release, and it is based on user feedback actually, is the fact that the inaccurate attacks should be able to hit other body parts than the one that you've targeted. Like you are making an auto-fire attack on the arm body piece of a merc, and bullets fly all around him, and they either hit the arm or they missed the merc entirely. So this is very unrealistic, especially at close range. And the reason it is like was mostly for readability, because people were kind of confused when in our pre-release tests we've tried hitting mercs accidentally. But still, this is a problem that we are able to solve, improve the readability, and also we think that the fact that the game is realistic is more important than, like, we don't want this to feel like a dice roll. We don't want this to feel artificial. We want to create situations that feel as realistic and close to real combat as possible, and if something doesn't make sense, we are bound to take a second look at it. So currently, some attacks that target a body part will instead hit a different body part as stray shots, and kinda if you make an auto-fire at point blank range, you would see this. Maybe not in every attack, but it happens, and it adds a bit of chaos to combat, it makes it more realistic, and I kinda think it works now. I'm happy with the result.
Very nice.
Next thing, we have this involved mechanic with Overwatch and Overwatch-like abilities like machine gun. They have a limited number of attacks that you can execute during the enemy turn. It is based on your remaining action points at the end of your turn or when you set up the ability. But this was not previously visible. Like you could see it in the rover of the skill, but afterwards you don't know. And the Overwatch cone at one point it disappears and you don't know why. And even we had some fake bug reports because people didn't understand the mechanics, so we decided to include a number clearly over the character head that says the remaining number of attacks that can be executed. I also think this is a welcome addition. We are always debating this, how much info we have to show on screen, like which is better to remain hidden and which is better to be shown.
That's an important part, but it's not actually information we intentionally hide. We show you that information and you just can't see it anymore after making the...
So it really is quality of life.
And basically, the best way to play until now was like to write down, okay, I'm setting an Overwatch and...
Exactly. It was not hidden on purpose, like chance to hit. It was hidden because of bad UI, and this is something we don't want. Well, not bad UI, but not as good as we want it. Next one on my list, I would go a little off script here and do a bit of random order because it is related to some stuff that we've talked.
Blizzard, if anyone can go off script on this topic, it's you, so go for it.
Yeah, we have these ricochet shots. It's kinda like the inaccurate attacks. You sometimes hit a stone wall or a metal generator or whatever, and you see this really cool visual effect like the bullet ricocheting and flying in some direction. But this was up until now purely cosmetic. Like this bullet would not impact object in a world or a character, and it would never do any real damage. And it is not a big thing. It is not kinda game mechanic like that you would use intentionally, but we feel like that it improves the feeling that we want the game to be simulative. We want a simulation. And that thing felt like a simulation ends at the point of a ricochet. So from now on, ricochet shots are able to inflict damage. You could kill someone with a ricochet, probably not on purpose, but it could happen, or hit an explosive barrel, or destroy just some random object in the scenery.
Never say never, because like if you go on YouTube and see trick shots for pool, that was never the intent of the way that game should be played, and yet some people still play it that way. So
one thing I regret a bit is that we don't have an achievement for this. Kill an enemy with a ricochet shot. But we will add it at some point, I hope. And it was also a change that our art director really wanted ever since ricochets were in the game, because this fact bothered him as well. That the effect is in there, but it has no impact on gameplay.
Oh, there's an interesting question, Primus. With the ricochet, hug walls enforce or bounce?
They bounce depending on the angle of the surface they impact. Like you can even try to shoot someone behind the corner, but it is kind of fantastic to do it. It is not a game mechanic like that. It was in this Western game. What was it named?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Hard West?
Yeah, it is not this
Hard
thing,
West,
but we've tried to make it realistic. Like if there is a bump on the surface and the bullet impacts just on the spot of the bump, and you can do this with free aim, it would ricochet in a different direction because of the bump. It is kinda cool, very random. We like it just because it feels real. Like you may not notice it in an entire playthrough, but the one time you notice it, it would kind of make the game more real.
It adds to that chaotic sense of combat that
Not
we were
only
just mentioning.
more real, but even more fun, because you get this unexpected effects, and it adds to the great situations, new situations that you never faced until now. So yeah, it could definitely be something that it's definitely something that adds a bit more to the fun factor and the realism of the combat.
Agreed.
There's one question that's I'm actually looking down because I'm looking at the chat as well here for at least what I can, because you guys are writing. There's what can you do to support the team and signal back to THQ? The ongoing support is fantastic and products is greatly appreciated. Please don't say microtransactions. Of course, we don't. We're not a team that likes those things. I think we even had a talk that most of the team would quit if we start doing stuff like that. But yeah, just play the game, enjoy the game, share it with friends. If someone else likes it, that's the best thing that's is actually good for us. If people buy and play the game.
Always try to read as much from feedback from the Discord community and the forums. Of course, there's so much of it, so we can't get through all of it, but it's always...
I think somebody in the company reads every piece of feedback, but it is kind of massive. There is no way a single person would go through everything.
Definitely.
As a sum, strong stance with microtransactions, yes.
Yeah, we're gamers like you guys. We, believe it or not, we like the things you like, and we also understand the implications. Like, it is not even a simple question of greed, because even if we were greedy, we would understand that in the long run, this is harmful.
Yeah.
For the franchise, for us as a developer, for everything.
Yeah, microtransactions and game economy in general is a very interesting topic, but it's probably not the topic for today.
Well, I don't know about Zero Suit Fox DLC, but I don't know, maybe Armor Horse or something. I can think about that. I think
we will
our
have to make the
animators.
horse.
I think our animators would jump out the window if I tell them, "Hey, we need a horse."
We will motion capture.
There was a game.
We have
I
two
will
suits.
motion capture.
There was a game that offered horse
I'm
armor.
gonna be the head.
I think
Scarab.
Monkey Island, yeah, the new Monkey Island offered a horse armor item. They already did this, but we can do something like that. An inventory item that is useless, that absolutely we can do, but we would not charge for it. As they didn't.
And of course, we have microtransactions in the game, actually. The broker actually does offer
Yeah.
loot boxes.
Yeah.
That was a fun piece of content.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Can warm.
All right, if you want to go back to combat quality of life.
Next thing on the list is actually a biggie, at least for me. There is this toggle button for faster enemy turns. And not only enemy turns, ally turns, everything that your characters don't do in combat. Like, we're happy with the game pace in general, but there are some really large conflicts, like with 20 or more units other than your mercs participating, and this can get a tad slow, especially if you go through it multiple times because you fail. So one thing that we've always wanted was to kind of offer some way to speed up these combat encounters, just to keep the pace, make things more fun and dynamic. So the thing we've decided to implement is this toggle button for faster speed, available during enemy turns in combat. You just click on it and the game runs, I think currently is twice as fast, but possibly this would be tweaked. The patch is still not released. And I'm happy to say that it solves these situations nicely. Like, if you feel at any point frustrated, you just toggle the button, the game remembers this setting, and of course you can toggle it back because visually the game feels better at the normal speed.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just want to get on with it.
But the dev stream that we had for Pavel's Curse builds, the last one where there were so many enemies, that you can, if you haven't been in a big combat encounter in the game, you can just run that and see how long it takes with all of those enemies, you know, to just reposition.
Especially if you're trying a weird build or like a single merc playthrough. When you're doing a single merc playthrough with a combat situation with 15 enemies, you really would need that.
Yeah, definitely.
So it would be very helpful for those kinds of runs.
Yeah. For new players, I would not recommend it, at least at start, because kinda you would want to understand how combat works these times, and you would want to take your time, at least in the initial conflicts. But once you feel familiar with the game, once you get to the big combats, you can try it out. Of course, it is a matter of taste. I usually still play without it, unless I'm in a rush. But I love the fact that it is in the game, because really this is a common problem with the genre, and it was nice that it was technically possible to alleviate it in this way.
Very needed quality of life.
There's one question that's probably still in the works. So, but I'll ask it. Will there be an option to have a toggle behind the hotkey or just in the options menu? I think that's still too early to say, maybe?
In the current implementation, it is just a toggle button in the game. It is not in the options menu. As combat runs, you can toggle it by clicking it, but we can, of course, change it until the release of the
And
patch.
actually, the important thing is not only until the release of the patch, but we will be looking at feedback for this patch as well, and we might revisit some parts and tweak here and there. So if there's feedback for stuff like the shortcut, we'll be definitely looking at the feedback, and there could be iterations.
Talking about actually testing and seeing feedback, one thing that I think I mentioned last stream, but I can't remember for the god of me, is that we do plan to release an unstable build for modders, so that they have the time to actually test out the new build. If something, it is going to be unstable, of course, but they will be able to test some of the more popular mods that they don't break.
This is actually a big one. We should have probably either started or ended with this.
Maybe.
Like when we release a new patch, we unavoidably break many mods. Because every update may impact every mod, and there is no humanly reasonable way to test it and synchronize with the modders. We might even if we had the resource to attempt to fix these broken mods, we sometimes couldn't because it is in the mod, not in the new code.
Yeah.
So the responsibility to fix the mod is with the modder, but the modder needs time to react because we ship the update and the game breaks at this point. So we decided to release unstable builds. I think it is a week in advance or something. And just give the time to dedicated modders to test their mods, react, and even we will get some nice benefit from this because we might learn of some bugs because of it. Bugs in our code, not in the mods. So it's a win-win situation. I'm happy that we decided to do it this way. And back to the update.
Back to the update, yes.
Yeah. Next thing on the list is a minor thing, like some items were logically they looked like item that you should be able to salvage, like the knife. It is a weapon like any other, but you cannot salvage it. And same thing I think for the detonators or explosives. It kinda doesn't make sense at a glance. It was actually not an oversight, at least not entirely. The reason it worked like that until now is that this item were stackable. And there was some minor issue with stackable items, we don't want you to salvage them one by one. It is a mini feature, and we didn't have time to do it until now. So I'm happy to report that in this patch, you will be able to salvage these items, get some parts, clear up your inventory. Possibly we've missed some other item, but the support is there, so we can now make every item in the game salvageable if we want to. Of course, some we don't want to because it makes no sense. But for knives, for detonators, the change is implemented. There are a couple of other things in the list. I think that there was even one thing that didn't make it into the dev diary because it was in the works, but it is now implemented. So there is this nifty little option when targeting a free aim attack, like shooting at the environment, to change your firing mode on the fly. Like you want to test the new ricochets and you want to make an auto-fire attack against a metal wall to just see how bullets bounce. And previously, it was very awkward to set up this. Like you would need another unit in the area, you target the other unit, you set the firing mode to auto, and then free aim defaults to this mode until it doesn't. So this was an oversight, and currently there is a shortcut working both on gamepad and keyboard and mouse controls, and you can toggle this on the fly as you make free aim attacks. Same for attacking with two weapons, left hand attack, right hand attack, etc.
I can't tell you how happy I am with that one because it will make it did make it harder to test sounds, for each gunshot when we were attaching them. So this would be
not
amazing.
only trying to test some weapon modes specifically or stuff like that. It will definitely help. Again, nice quality of life feature.
Yeah, and by the way, I mentioned gamepad, so I want to say that each of these updates covers gamepad as well. For example, the faster speed, there is a control on gamepad and you can toggle it. I noticed someone in the chat asking Spinduke, I think. So yeah, game controllers have speed up button as well.
There's a lot of things in buns, like
one other thing.
1.20.
One other thing, it is only visual polish, but it is very welcome. We've had some free animation resource, and currently we decided to dedicate it to improving melee animations. These are subtle changes, but there is a bit more variety when attacking with knives, with unarmed attacks. The game is a bit more realistic when you are fighting on different elevations. The shots will connect, the attacks will connect better visually with your target. So yeah, that was a fine addition as well. And we want to, as long as we have the free resource, to keep on doing polish like that, improving little animations here and there. So it is not only design and code work, some artists on the team are involved as well.
Some other aspects are receiving love too.
Yeah. And I think that's it for Bones. There are lots of other changes, many bug fixes, but I would not go through the patch notes, especially since the patch is not yet in its final form.
Oh, yeah. Well, Spineduke, I don't know what to tell you, but we're going to move on to 1.30, and that has a lot of merchant things to talk about. So,
yeah, we're not
codename Vicky.
I actually am not specifically sure why you chose Vicky for this
I
one.
chose Vicky because I always imagined Vicky as kinda gear-focused character. Like her perk works as long as her weapon is fully modified. So I imagine that she, being a mechanic and all, is very practical with material things. She kinda wants to have the best armor, the best helmet, the best weapon, finely tuned to her exact specifications. And currently in the game, you can do this, but it is a matter of luck as well. You have to discover this in the world. And of course, we want to keep this to a point. We don't want to make this too easy. Like you open this web page and everything is there. You just pay money and you go ahead with it. But on the other hand, we don't want it to be as hard as it is right now. Like we've received this feedback hundreds of times. People want some kind of store in the game, and we missed Bobby Ray as well. We have fond memories. It is part of the setting. It is part of the gameplay. Actually, we had, I think I can tell this now, we had this teaser page for Bobby Ray implemented in the game for release. Like you open this web page and Bobby Ray says, "Hey, I see you are accessing this site from Grand Chien, and we don't service this country for now, but who knows, in the future we might." Or something like that. It was better worded for sure.
It's really teasing, which was the problem.
It was a very trolling move, yeah. But yeah.
And yeah, Viking is fucking awesome. Yeah.
Vicky is fucking awesome as well. And yeah, I think Bobby Ray was probably the biggest feature I felt was missing from the initial.
Yeah, and most commonly requested as well.
Yeah, even personally for me, because when I play Jagged Alliance 2, I use, even with vanilla or Stracciatella mode, I use the Bobby Race all the time. It does take some time to start showing you interesting things in Jagged Alliance 2. That's something we were discussing. It's not a very useful early game. So it's not gonna be a one-to-one replication of what Bobby Ray was in the vanilla game.
But it would not be the thing in 1.13 as well.
Yeah.
We don't want it to be as exhaustive, and we want kind of a middle ground between the two of them.
We don't want you to get lost in
I think an important thing to note here is we also are thinking about how modders will be able to use Bobby Race as easy as possible. So it's going to be very easy to add new stuff to Bobby Race, and all of the mods that add new items will be able to actually add it to Bobby Race. And it's quite useful because right now, if you want to add new items, you have to go through the loot tables, change what enemies are using, change what is dropping in the game, and going through to do it via Bobby Race is going to be a bit easier.
Yeah, we want to you to be able to add items naturally there without going through hoops, possibly. And also we want to create kind of an economy in the game.
Yeah.
We know that there were these inward vendors saying some stuff, but this is not really what we want to have. Kind of the idea that there is a world with a market ticking, like other people buying from Bobby Race, restocks happening periodically. We kind of want to create this impression. It is important for immersion, and it is also kind of part of the charm of the game. Like we love the idea that there is this virtual world going in the fake internet of the game, functioning on its own.
Yeah, and it also ties up to actually one of the next patches, but we wanted to have more things to spend money on. We were talking about when people are playing very well and they have a lot of money, it's good to be able to spend it on something. So money sinks for
Yeah. This is very different from player to player, but I've seen personally save games with colossal amounts of money. And we think that it would be nice just to have a place to dump this money if you want to.
Yeah, and that's definitely getting new items and even some already modded items you can get.
Yeah,
Some.
used item with random mods, like you can be deal hunting, checking just to see if there is
Yeah.
something, some good bargain there.
And of course ammunition as well. For specific ammunition for a specific type, we already increased how often you can get the craftable item for ammunition, but it's good to be able to get ammunition even if you don't have an explosive expert, for example, to do the crafting.
Yeah.
So definitely a very good addition to the game, I think.
Well,
Maybe I shouldn't ask this, but will there be a special things that you can only buy from Bobby Ray's store? I'm not even.
who knows? Currently, there is no design for such stuff, but I would say that it is an interesting design space.
Yeah, and as I said, you can get weapons that already have some mods installed, so you could get interesting setups for weapons.
Yeah, you can even buy a random weapon because it is cheap and kinda encounter a weird combination of mods that you would never do on your own because it is random to an extent.
Yeah, and it's even useful to get the part for the weapon mod, even if you decide to switch the mod. So that's.
I'm sure that a lot of people will find ways, to use money to buy it and then get parts and then use it for something else. It's like it was in the old game. You would hire a merc just to get his guns and then not care about him and so on. So.
Spinduke has a great idea. Spend 200,000 at Bobby Race and get a free Jagged t-shirt.
As long as we are talking inventory items in the game, why not? I think we can create the icon. But yeah, we know you guys want t-shirts, but really it is out of our hands.
Yeah, everybody's looking at Pavel.
Hey, no, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not. It's like it's still in THQ. It's still in THQ. We did a lot of T-shirts, and believe me, I have no enthusiasm to go again through making T-shirts and shipping them all over the place. So,
Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows? We're not saying no. All right. So maybe is there anything else you'd like to share about Bobby Ray specifically, or?
Well, I think we've covered the basics.
Yeah,
of course,
we should not go more in depth because it is very much on paper at this time. We might say things that we would regret later on. Because
also, we want to keep some of the stuff for the closer to the patch, not only just for the being more accurate, but also to talk when it's closer to release. Yeah,
absolutely.
All right. Okay, so moving on, 1.40. This is Wolf.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty obvious why this patch is called Wolf, because Wolf is the jack of all trades. He has a very nice, unique skill that speeds up satellite view operations. And this is a patch that's focused on the satellite view and quality of life there. So we are going to look at how operations are used, what operations are underused specifically. We know scouting is underused, and we've had designs of how to make it more worth the time investing in scouting. So even getting something like experience when things go wary in the scouting situation, not only just getting wounds, but there's again more design on paper still. So we're gonna review all of the operations. We're gonna be try to give you opportunities to use operations in more ways. Training a single merc is what was possible in Jagged Alliance 2, like the practice activity there. So that's one part of it, but also some quality of life, just like the sector stash and being able to filter items there. Even the filters on the satellite view, which show different icons, we're going to tweak those so they're a bit more useful and show more information that's on point.
Yeah, and actually a nice suggestion there. Cordon says remove the 6 hours minimum repair time. We don't know whether we would do this, but this is the kind of work we are
Yes.
doing with this patch. Like we would make many such changes similar to this suggestion.
So yeah, that's definitely something that's gonna help the long game, the long-term planning, and just how you approach stuff. We're also gonna take a look at how enemies attack your positions and do some minor tweaks there, but just to make the game a bit more dynamic in the late game.
Yeah. We were also talking about improving the conflict screen possibly, like the
Yes.
pop-up you get when you encounter an enemy controlled sector, because we've received some feedback, especially from new players, that some things are not
Yeah,
as easy to
clear,
understand
yeah.
there as we would like.
There's not only a problem with clarity, but for such a big screen, it doesn't show a lot of information.
Yeah.
And there's information we should be showing there, like even what's the weather on that map, and just looking at more squads at a single time.
I've stashed 120 items in Fleet Town, and it's such a pain in the ass to find stuff.
Yes, and I would say it was it was a big pain in the ass in Jagged Alliance too. But yes, of course, we should be able to have filters and just find what you need. So that's definitely something that's much needed quality of life.
In the beginning of the game, you don't have that many items, so it's not that big of a problem. But
Yes.
at some point it just balloons out of control. So
Yes, it's definitely for the long term, when you're deep in the playthrough, and you just need to manage your inventory better.
And by the way, guys, keep up the suggestions coming.
Yes.
Like I see a suggestion about plans to add animations to auto-resolve. We cannot commit to it, but we are collecting ideas at this time because DD Dispatch is few months from now, and we have time. We've reserved some buffer just to implement community suggested changes.
yeah, that kind of confirms some suspicious, because there's always a lot of conversations about potential things that we can improve, and kind of the sum of a lot of the feedback helps us in going one way or another in a way. So, all right.
How to sort is noted as well.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Satellite view is a huge part of the game, and there's a lot of moving parts there that can use a lot of love. And having said that, maybe the one that a lot of people are waiting for, 1.50, codename Larry. So, why Larry?
Because Wadi is crazy. He's the ultimate modder, in my opinion at least. Like Vicky mods her weapons or purpose, but if you're looking for an exploding teddy bear or something like that, Wadi is your go-to guy.
Definitely yes. And this is the second part of the modding toolset, and it's a big part of the modding toolset. It's the map editor, which will finally allow you to modify the existing campaign, existing maps and quests. It will also allow you to create new maps, new sectors in the existing campaign, or even new campaigns, which is hopefully what sparks some very interesting creations on your end. I really love looking at the modding community and looking what the modders come up with. It's amazing to try the game with mods, and in the long run, I think that the campaigns is definitely something that will gather a lot of speed, and this update will allow that.
I'm scared to even imagine what kind of things are gonna pop up there, but it's gonna be fun to watch.
And the reason this update is as far down the line is just because it is a changing thing to do. Like shipping the level editor, shipping the quest editor, this takes a lot of work and we need this time. We would gladly ship it earlier if we could, but there is a lot of work to be done before it can be made public.
There was a joke. One of the team asks, like, "Wait, why did you choose Larry for the name of the patch? Like, is it because we gotta be on drugs to ship it?" We're like, we hope not. So,
My favorite idea there, Jagged Alliance to Total Conversion. I would
I'm sure
play
someone
the
will do
hell out of it.
Yeah.
Even Jagged Alliance 1, I would love to see this done in our game. in
Definitely,
some
that's
way.
the dream to have that. And also, I will again say Black Lagoon Total Conversion. I really love the anime. I would really like to see Run-Up created in Jagged Alliance 3.
Hint. Boyan is giving some hints, but yeah. But that's actually a perfect place where Fade that we talked earlier can join the conversation in the
we should
streams.
definitely, and we can bring back the other Pavel as well,
Yes.
and this time not only for his
Curse builds.
curse builds, although we should definitely do another session of curse builds, but also for his level design skills.
Yeah.
And get some other members of the level design team also.
You actually know a lot of them now. Like you met Krasian, you met Power, and you're gonna meet Fate, and
I
who
would
knows,
watch
maybe
this
someone
stream
else.
just to improve my personal skill set with the level design tools. Because I
definitely
can learn a lot.
The
from
map
this
editor
case.
really has a lot of specifics to create a map, and it's a very involved process, and they
Yeah.
have a lot of knowledge, and they will be happy to share it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun patch. I can, I can see it from now.
By the way, I really love the work our level designers did on the map. Like there is this personal touch, all these little details.
Yeah.
This is true to some extent in our previous games as well, but here in Jagged Alliance it really shines. Like the game has a, I think, unique visual feeling because levels are done the way they are. No, for me, I know it sounds kind of weird coming from me, but for me, it is a very distinctive approach to level design, and I cannot compare it to the other tactical games. It is unique.
Yeah, Physics Cat, the teddy bear house is amazing.
The teddy bear was a running gag because they actually added a lot of teddy bears here and there as just small Easter eggs, and ultimately we said we have to make a quest about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was like the level designers, pushing the arms of the designers. Like at some point, they're like, okay, we need to have a quest here. There's no way we can do it without a quest. It doesn't make sense otherwise. So yeah.
Yeah, I really got a lot of inspiration from just the creations on the maps, and it was a very back and forth process. Not only the world creation that Rado did to help the level designers bring these things to life, but then back reflected on the opposite end.
I think we've mentioned this before, but in the beginning, we actually, when it was very early in development, the maps were more dependent on the grid itself, and at some point we decided that we want to make them more alive. So that kind of unbound, the level designers to do a lot more beautiful stuff than, just adhere to this really rigid grid. It cost a lot more efforts in other places, but I think it was worth it in the end.
One thing I love is how someone would say something in Slack as a joke. Like, you should include this piece of graffiti somewhere. And the level designers would go and actually do it. It is really nice to have this, I would say, company culture here at Haemimont, just working this way. It is very collaborative effort, and it creates kind of... the level is not only the fruit of the efforts of our art director and level designers, but it is to some point fruit of the efforts of everyone at Haemimont.
I don't think we've mentioned this Easter egg before, but there was also a graffiti, a piece of art that's on a wall in Grand Chien that was actually inspired by Brad. Shout out to Brad who did the early streams. He had a bunny rabbit, which he had like a pet, and unfortunately the bunny rabbit, succumbed during the development process, and he was very sad. And it was kind of a common idea. Maybe we should have something that's like to all of the pets that perished during the development of the title. So yeah, there's that place. I think we've had it as a picture, but we didn't explain it ever. I don't think anywhere.
I think it's just an Easter egg that people will know about it now.
Yeah.
Here they've noticed it. Don't underestimate the fans.
Yeah, they found a lot of the small Easter eggs and small touches that generate it, and it's always fun to read these comments in the Discord. I noticed a question by Corondor and mirrored by Spinduke was why some of the maps in the wilderness are empty. It was something cut. It's not cut, it's intentional. The idea is that the procedural attacks that happen from the guard posts can occur there, so you can always explore and have some kind of fight there, but sometimes it's just an empty, beautiful place.
I think we had that problem that was supposed to be an empty, beautiful place, and all of a sudden someone would get inspired and put so much content there. And like I said, okay, so we need to make it something then.
And you would notice that some parts of the world are a bit more clustered with content because there was so much interesting stuff we had to make, some quests and even some small interactions there. And there are other places where we decided that it would fit better to the theme to be a bit more just empty wilderness and like more serene in a way.
Yeah, but even on these empty maps, there might not be named NPCs or quests, but often there is this unique point of interest, like this place that you cannot see anywhere else in the game. Just an interesting visually or in some other way a point of the map, or a few of these most often. So I really love this. Like I could just explore with the camera in photo mode and not get bored.
Oh, definitely. In any case, you guys are going to see it. We had this conversation. Because it's still too early to have it, and Blizzard was like, how can I make a screenshot that's like representative for the modding tools? And I went to ask our programmer that's handling that. And he's like, we'll just do our tools, we're just going to ship them. It's not going to be that different. It's still going to be a little bit different because it's in another way, but it's still going to be very close to our own editor that we used for creating all of those maps. So you're going to have a look of how
By the way,
go.
on the roadmap, these screenshots were flipped for the final two patches, and that annoys me. I'm that kind of a guy. Can you show the roadmap, please?
Luo?
Here, the screenshot that is third, this is the screenshot of our level editor. And the fourth screenshot is, of course,
satellite
view. So these two are flipped. Such is life.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's what we have specifically planned, but we do wish to continue working on some other things in Jagged Alliance that we maybe can just foreshadow.
I can say one word. Just so you know, we have future plans and we can let the speculation commence or whatever. The name of the next patch 1.6 that is not announced in the dev ID, the code name is Meltdown. Do with that information what you will. All right.
So, if you want to, we can go to Q&A for a little bit. We still have... Hey, we're actually ahead of time. It's just nice.
Will there be DLC? We still don't have any announcements to make on the DLC front. Yeah.
So that means it's going to be the best patch.
Of course,
we don't know.
Because it's Meltdown.
Codename, yeah. I always have a hard time pronouncing this. Didriana?
Didriana. I don't know. I can't pronounce it. Even though she's Romanian. So.
Yeah, she's so close.
I don't know how accurate of a Romanian name actually is.
For now, we keep
Canadians,
the patches. We keep the patches named after mercs. But if there are ever DLCs, and I'm not saying there will be, we could use other names for this.
I'm just expecting the question. So does that mean 40 patches confirmed because there are 40 mercs in the game?
Well,
a little bit
I'm
more,
game
actually.
if you
41.
are.
41.
Major patches, because there could be hotfixes as well, but these do not deserve a copy.
Okay, speculation time. What's gonna be in the patch, Elliot?
I'm saying only mercs for patches, but if we make a DLC named Elliot, it would be awesome.
And definitely a slap attack, I guess.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And hedgehogs becoming less little here, I agree.
All right. Anything
Okay.
else?
It designs itself. I agree.
Well, recruitable idiot.
Would you want to?
I'm pretty sure there's already a mod for that.
I do think
I would love to
yeah.
have this really bad character, like the ones that were in Jagged Alliance 1 or in Merc, the worst characters in Merc. I would love to have such a Merc. Just play with it, with him.
Slap takedown is actually, I can imagine this being like an, I don't know, pimp, something like the flamingo shirt of Hitman, just going like slap and knocking out someone cold.
You could do like give it the steroid punch. Right? You could do a mod like right now. Just make a custom appearance,
Custom
and
animation?
Give no need
No.
for custom animation, but you can do the steroid punch and rename it and tweak it a bit, and it's gonna be something akin. Or you could do the custom animation. Where's your Blender skills at?
It's just spreading and
So, questions. Go ahead.
it's not every day you get the two Boyans in one place.
Yeah.
For a stream, so let's see if there's something up. Please, at some point, allow rudimentary two-hand melee support for larger weapons. Unfortunately, I don't see how that can happen without an additional animation set, which is really hard to implement at this point.
Yeah, because there's a lot of animations that a single set has. It's very hard to add new stuff. That's it's time consuming mostly. That's the problem.
Will there be hotfixes? Good
Yes.
question, thank you.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully, we won't need them.
Yeah, our philosophy is that we issue a hotfix when we make a fundamental mistake with the patch. Like we break something or kind of introduce a show-stopping issue or just a major issue that annoys everyone. So I would say there probably will be hotfixes, but we would prefer if we manage to do it out, it would mean we are doing a great job. Like the patch was near perfect.
Yeah.
But you know, when you are making changes, you always tend to break things, and some of these slip through testing. Even with the unstable release for modders, I suspect some will slip, and we would have at some point issue a hotfix.
Yeah.
Definitely, but we still reach out at some specific, very popular mods that, for instance, there was this situation where a very popular mod that enabled mod support, for instance, and it caused a lot of problems after we introduced the mod support. And the only way we can do it was actually reach out to the modder. We talked with him. He was very cool, and he actually wiped the mod so that he can push an empty mod to the subscribers so that it doesn't break their game anymore. Because otherwise, if he just deleted the mod, they would still have it local, and the people who also were using it were, gonna have a broken game, and they would need to reinstall or something. And that's kind of fixed it. So in situations like this where it applies to so many people, we do reach out and we do try to work with the modders and set things right. So there's going to be a lot of those, so probably won't cover all of them, but as much as we can catch them, we do our best.
Some nice questions there. Should we
Just
do
choose
them?
one, because I don't think I can read all of them.
Well, I could try to quickly answer a few.
Sure.
Do we plan to add airfields and helipads? We've of course talked about this, but this sounds like more of a world-changing feature, so at this point, nothing to announce there. This doesn't mean no, but it would be more of a DLC material, for example, or something like that. So at this point, nothing to announce. Any chances to revisit environment destruction? Of course, if we have feedback, we are generally very happy with destruction, but it can be improved and there is a chance. So please share any feedback, any Any moments that you feel are unrealistic with the in-game bug reporter and a save game, and we could polish it. We would not rework it entirely because we are generally happy with the state at which destruction is in the game, but we know that there are some wonkier instances. So, yeah. Do you plan on doing a major weapon rebalance? Not at this point, no. It is a possibility for the future, but not in the near future, not in the scope of this roadmap.
Yeah, there's a lot of mods that tweak weapons, and we actually do take a look at it, but we feel it's quite in the good center balance-wise. I know certain elements are more prominent in the community rather than more used, especially the discussion about sniper rifles, of course, but from what we're seeing, there's a very good spread of use of the weapons, and there's a lot of strategies involving, much more destructive strategies involving non-sniper rifles, for example.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost.
Yeah, for a moment.
My heart dropped.
We went dark.
But everything seems to be working now. Is there any collaboration with the mod builders, like implementing something into the game officially? Yeah, we would love to do this. Like, mods are this perfect testing ground for ideas, and of course we can shamelessly appropriate some of these ideas and use it. With giving credit to the modder, of course.
Yeah.
But we've done this in Surviving Mars, I think. So this is kind of one strong argument for why games should have mods. It makes life easier for the developers. And actually we see what's in demand, what works, and kind of the entire modding community can come with a lot of ideas that we internally would not have the time to test.
There's some awesome people out there, so they're doing mods even as we speak. So probably some of it.
Send us a YouTube clip with some feedback on the structure, so we are definitely gonna check that out.
Yep. Well,
I actually saw something very interesting, and I wanted to have a discussion about it. So, other HD, I guess. I'm not sure. I'm mispronouncing that, but he's asking. All right. So, any other good old games your studio wants to make a dope sequel? So, do we have a list?
Shall I tell them the story?
Tell the story.
Tell the story.
Also, the discussion is interesting.
Maybe don't. When I tell your story, I don't tell the third title because I don't want to jinx
But I want to.
it. Okay, it's your story.
It's your story, yeah.
So, guys, possibly lots of you have heard this story. I apologize. I would try to be brief. But when I was interviewed here at Haemimont, when I was going for a job here, 18 years ago or so, 17 probably.
Something like that.
I was asked which projects you would like to work on if you had a choice. And named 3, because of course I was a crazy gamer back then. I could have named 10, but the interviewer asked me about 3. So I said, Tropico is a nice city builder. I think it deserves a sequel. And I think that it is kind of unique. And by some happening, we've made Tropico a Tropico sequel, even a few of them, like three of them, not counting the expansions. And I also said I would love to work on a Jagged Alliance. So again, this happened. And I might jinx it, but the third game I would love to work on was Star Control. I would love to make a sequel of Star Control 2. For whoever hasn't played this game, it is a very old game, I think 1992 or something like that. It is this awesome genre mashup of space exploration, combat. There is a bit of RPG or something like that as well. It is a very unique genre hybrid, like Jagged Alliance actually.
Yeah, it has strategy elements as well.
And it holds a special place in my heart. Like, it is one game I would love to see in this year's remake. So if there is someone out there that wants to work with us on a Star Control sequel, a true Star Control sequel, we are game. I at least.
Yeah, and as Corondor
Very
notes
open
that the IP is
We know
quite
that the
jinxed.
situation there is kind of screwy, but
They will
It
resolve.
was this case with Jagged as well, but it sorted itself out.
yeah, time heals
So,
all
yeah.
wounds.
We'll just wait a bit more, and
Yeah.
hopefully. Any other things you wanna remake?
Well, we would
3 more?
quite a lot of. It would take quite a lot of time. So possibly let's hear your
Well, of
answer.
course, everybody's asking us when is there gonna be a Tsar 2, because Tsar was the first game ever made by Haemimont, even when it was under different ownership. It was the first Bulgarian game. It was an RTS. We actually have it on Steam right now. You can go
Oh,
and
yeah.
try it. It's, when was it released? Oh my god.
1999, I think.
Is it 99? I'm not sure.
think so.
Yeah. So it's a very fun little RTS. It has some quite quirky elements like units leveling up and ninjas that could jump through walls and break some of the dominant strategies. So it was fun, and we always get this question when we go on a trade fair or like something like that, and
Yeah.
when fans.
It's amazing that people remembered it that many years later. Because, of course, for us in Bulgaria, it was the first game created in our country, the first major game at least. But it is awesome to see that it made an impression even outside the country.
Yeah, and of course, I would definitely try to do a Silent Storm remake as well. We've done Jagged Alliance, Silent Storm.
Yeah,
is
it
like-
is kind of logical.
Like,
Ultimately, of course, I would also love to do a Deus Ex, and even the original Deus Ex. But that's a bit, I think, way too ambitious.
maybe in the future. Don't.
I'm still waiting
Could.
for the second installment of the Deus Ex we got.
Oh.
Okay, of course, sorry, a New Ager would be a blast.
All right. Deus Ex remake. Spine Duke's
Would be
all in.
cool.
So
I'm following the original Deus Ex modding scene actually, and they are trying to make Deus Ex 1, the original, and even a sequel. There's a high textures mod. There are some other stuff happening there. It's still a bit wonky to play the original Deus Ex. I enjoy it from time to time, but
that's
It's-
probably
it's
true
aged
with
quite a
all
lot.
of the old, yeah.
it wasn't the
Games.
prettiest of games even back then. So that really has, you have to get around the graphics, and for a first-person shooter, it's not really all that easy to do. Oh, do you
Right.
want to remake a game?
Yeah.
Oh man. Probably it's something that hasn't gotten justice, I would say, but I grew up and I don't like platformers. It's too wonky and too like very precise, but I grew up with Commander Keen. And the latest ones that they did was just like, I want to see it like my childhood, and they're like, yeah, no, it's not the thing that I want. I don't know if I will work on it because it's been years. Maybe I don't have the specific, taste that's required to make a good game, not just to enjoy it in terms of the Commander Keen style. But that's something that's near and dear to my heart when I was young. You didn't expect that answer.
No, definitely
We
not.
love Commander King.
Commander King
We
is a
were
great game,
young
though.
at some point as well.
Come on.
Many years
King
ago.
Dreams was awesome.
Oh,
Do you remember King Dreams? There were this Commander King 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 6, and then there was King Dreams,
I
like
think
kinda
I've-
out of the.
I've played 4, 5, and 6. I didn't get access to the first ones.
Yeah, it was much worse visually. It was kind of simpler, as if done in earlier times, but it was interesting as well. And there were 6 parts and Kingdoms. These are the ones I remember.
It's amazing. Kind of got me thinking back. But anyway, Let's wrap it up here because we're gonna be we're gonna have a dev stream next week as well. We are gonna have dev streams around the release of each patch that we just mentioned, so we're gonna talk in depth for each one of them.
Probably show some stuff as well.
Exactly, yeah. We're gonna come back to the old setup, more focused on the build, and show you what's on screen, because these are awesome, but when we have something to show, that's better. So expect that, and we'll talk to you guys next time. It was, like always, a blast, and you guys are awesome in chat, so it's always a pleasure. All right.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Thank you.